I didn't personally use Quickly. I know a lot of people that did, and I was familiar with it to an extent, but interesting situation to say the least. Yeah.
Mm. I don't listen. Let's start with some controversy, shall we? I don't have much trust in a product named Quickly. The word Quickly spelled CWICLY. I get it. Could have picked something else.
It's definitely from a branding perspective. I would never guess that's how you spell that. So that's a tough one there. Just from like ranking, SEO, all that sort of stuff. You really a lot of jokes made about the spelling of that. But aside from that, I'm like I said, I know a lot of people that use it. Just a couple people channels that I've mentioned, Grant Ambrose and Sunny T from New Pulse Labs. Like they're experts in that. Every opinion that I've heard from users of Quickly is it's like you could have went with bricks, you could have went with breakdance, but you wanted to stay closer to core. And Quickly, to everything I understand, was kind of like built a top core, almost more of like a generate press, generate blocks. Again, I don't have deep experience there, but it's like if I would have known about Quickly, actually, if I would have heard a little bit more about it, I might have actually considered it, because we'll get to it later, I'm sure. But if you don't want WordPress core to continue to succeed, then, and you're building and you're in the WordPress space, it just doesn't make any sense. Like it's just logically an unsound argument. So particularly Quickly though, just out of the blue, they just get discontinued. Just an email on a Sunday morning that I saw via, Facebook groups and stuff, and immediately started reaching out to people. You got to feel bad for everybody involved. And, there's a lot of speculation on like what is going on there. And there's some updates, but it's just a weird spot. I don't know if you have heard anything specifically or been following it, Matt, but
I reached out. I sent 6 questions over to the support email or the communications email that they posted. I haven't heard back. Haven't heard back since going live 9 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. So I don't, I just asked the sort of standard questions, hey, why?
Yeah.
Why did this happen? What's next for customers? Share your thoughts on the situation. The questions I had sent over were pretty standard questions one would ask about a situation like this to, report on. The only thing I hadn't seen when I sent the questions over was the post that they made on Facebook. And I'll admit, just a lot of this stuff, like I don't spend a lot of time in Facebook in general, and I certainly don't for WordPress products. And what I did miss was that announcement where they like sort of cited that through pressures of content creators, general feedback, all that stuff. That was one of the reasons that played into it. I posted on the weekly newsletter at the WP Minute, the brittle WordPress business is the post title. And I said, look, as a former product owner, creator, and Mark, you might not know this about me, but years ago, I was building WordPress themes when I started my agency. Also started to build a page builder myself before page builders were really a
what? Thing. I didn't know that.
Oh, yes, my friend. I will one day show you some of the technology I put together that was quite advanced at the time, where WordPress was. And problem was I invested way too early in this stuff, and I invested in the customizer experience, which back then was supposed to be the future. Like everything we're seeing with like blocks and stuff today in the editor, back then, that was the emphasis. Like if you're building a theme, you got to do everything in the customizer because we're doing it on the front end. People need to visualize this stuff. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what we need. So we invested a lot of our technology in the front end of the customizer, and boy, oh boy, was that a mistake, and quite the lesson in one, being too early to the market, and two, playing in somebody else's playground, because this is what happens when you invest in this stuff. Back to my point about Quickly, man, this ain't easy. Running a business is not easy. Running a WordPress business is not easy. There's a ton of competition. Page builder space is insane, right? You have incumbents that are just massive. You have the block space experience for core WordPress, which is also massive. Like if you search for block-based page builders inside the repo. You have everyone making their accordions, their sliders, their carousels, everything, all of these core block with these stupid animated GIFs that pop up in the repo that are going to drive you nuts. Hyper competitive. And then you mix that on to a customer base that is demanding, right? That same customer base, which is demanding of WordPress, is like doubly demanding of your product because they paid for it, most likely. So I have sympathy for Lewis and the team, so long as this isn't like a money laundering scheme. If you're just trying to grab the bag and run and leave everybody, that's not cool. But I can totally understand the pressures of building something and not having people purchase it, keeping up with your competitors, hearing people talk, bad about you, and then just not seeing the up and to the right that we all expect from our product and business. So I totally get it if he just couldn't handle it anymore.
There's definitely a big human component to things like this. I think we often forget that, obviously, because, we're just always, if we're in the Facebook groups, sometimes we're not even treating people like humans necessarily. It's just like other developers and product owners, and it's very easy to just like yell at support all the time and forget people are human. So I, definitely want to double down on the fact that hopefully everything's good and all that. But at the same time, though, I like to see things from both sides. And while I hope everything's good and everything is okay from the human side, as a business owner, I do think that you owe it to your customers. And I've gotten this sentiment from actual Quickly users. They just feel kind of like high and dry a little bit because it was so sudden. And I think actually an update on the situation is that yesterday or the day before, there was another message sent out. I think it's called Discourse, but it's their platform for support and forums and everything, like, for bugs and issues. There was another message put in there, and just the way in which the language was written from Louis, it was, again, I don't know the full situation, but because we don't know the full situation, it's just difficult to actually have a real strong opinion on it, because when you're just getting pieces of the situation, you can't really form a logical reaction to it. But it was something like, there was a line in there where it's like, Quickly has been paused, and then he struck that out and is like, okay, no, we're not actually doing any more development. So I think I can't imagine what the users are going through. I hope that the issues continue to get resolved. I hope they find other alternatives, whether that's Generate Press, Generate Blocks, just core in general, bricks, doesn't really matter. Everybody's gonna be in a different position, but yeah, just it's an interesting situation, and we'll see how it continues to unfold, I guess. Yeah, that's it right there.
So this is the announcement. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit. This is Louis, the founder of Quickly. Also, what was weird, because one of the first things I did was obviously go to the website. I saw somebody post it. I went to the website, clicked on the About page, and the About page was gone. I don't know if the About page is still taken down at this point. So maybe there was issues internally, whatever. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I wish to clarify certain matters with you regarding the future of Quickly. We have refunded newly subscribed clients since January 2024 who have made a request at support. So if you requested, you got the refund. You didn't. It wasn't just a mass automated refund. Right. Is the way I read that. All Quickly users with an active account on March 3rd, 2024 will receive ongoing access to bug fixes, potential security vulnerability patches, and WordPress compatibility until the conclusion of 2024. So they're going to carry this, allegedly, for patches and WordPress compatibility all the way through 2024, regardless of their renewal dates. So it's interesting because if they're not generating any revenue, I mean, are we going to run on a skeleton crew? Or are you still going to be able to sustain that? Because that's largely the issue with this stuff, in my opinion. Subscriptions will not automatically be renewed, but use and updates of the Quickly plugin will be extended to the end of 2024 at no additional cost. Subsequent to this period, commencing from 2025 onwards, we will offer maintenance plans for those users who wish to continue to benefit from Quickly Up, is contingent upon your tier level at a discounted rate. Yada, yada, yada. This measure ensures the sustainability of the current prospective websites built with Quickly. Details regarding. So lifetime holders will continue to enjoy maintenance benefits and access to the Quickly plugin at no additional charge. Did you see what they meant by maintenance?
Honestly, the whole thing is confusing. I don't even think I read that one. I think there was another one, or he must have edited it, because I know for a fact it did not have all that info in there. And to me, that right there is news to me. And that seems much more, I'm struggling to think of a good word for it, but that seems much more, I don't want to say respectful, but almost respectful to your users, that you're explaining all that rather than what happened kind of initially, like in the past week, where it's just like, all right, we're stopping without any info. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not up to date with that post specifically there, but
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of cool that they're continuing the maintenance piece of it, though. I mean, but but like you said, we forget about the money part. Like, a lot of times people don't want to talk about money, but money's a real thing. Like, you can't do things, like, stuff isn't free, it's not. And I think it's a kind of slightly tangential topic, but in WordPress, it's so amazing that we get all this stuff. Like, there's so much free things out there, but that I feel like that only goes so far of a way. And then you have people, I don't want to go too far on a tangent, but last thing is that then you have people that want to make money from the websites that they're building for clients, but they only want to use free software. And it's like, that doesn't make, a lot of times that's not how business works. You have to spend money to make money. So, but you're absolutely right. Particular to this situation is that how do they continue to sustain that without new revenue and stuff like that? I'm not sure.
Yeah. It brings me to, again, our next topic and we'll talk about like selecting page builders and how to, sort of drill down to this stuff. And I think it's important to analyze the market space of page builders and look at it from the product, pricing, sustainability, and user base, before, Mark and I sort of drill down to this page builder experience. The page builder space is so toxic. And when I go into a Facebook group, I wonder how page builders can even attempt to cultivate a great community around a product. I have a lot of respect for people who try to tackle the page builder space. What you're doing is you are creating a GUI, a graphical user interface, to help people code off of infinite possibilities of being able to, code a website. And it's a tremendous undertaking. And, what happens is, the next product comes along, it's got 6 more features, it's got 12 more features. And then if you haven't developed those features, the users are like, where are those features? Fill in the blank for any of this stuff, whether it's Elementor missing a boatload of features and now Bricks has it. This is a chapter I've seen, over the course of over a decade of the page builder wars. It's not something that I think, I don't take it lightly. And I certainly have respect for those who try to solve this issue. But man, sometimes you mix that with low price, buy this lifetime license. Mm-hmm. I'm glad Bricks moved away from the lifetime license, because that stuff is not sustainable. Cheap is not sustainable. And the challenge is WordPress is free, and users come to expect that. And the thing that grinds my gears the most, that's why I can't spend time in Facebook groups, is because I see people who are making money with this stuff and just be outright like demanding, and but you've only spent $100 on whatever solution you're yelling about, and I'm sure you've turned to your client because you took Mark Szymanski's class on website sales, and you charged them minimally $5,000. So you're screaming at one person for charging you $100 while you've made plenty of margin in your space. Obviously, I'm overstating that, but that is something that I see, and it drives me crazy. That's why I can't spend time in these Facebook groups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for the content idea. I'm going to make a website sales course right after we get off this call. No, but I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's a lot there, the toxicity of the Facebook groups and things. There's never any reason to be like rude, but again, I try to see things from both sides, and it's like from my personal experience, and everybody's different, is there's the tough part when you're in a page builder group or just any other group that's kind of associated with WordPress on Facebook. The thing you have to remember is you have to remember that the person that you're talking to, one, is a human, but two, is in a very different spot, not just in their WordPress career. They might be a freelancer. They might just be doing it for a friend. This doesn't cost, most of the time, doesn't cost money to be in the groups and stuff. You just have to answer some questions. Like, you have to understand they're in a different spot completely with their WordPress career, the stuff that they're doing. They're also in a different part of the world, which is another big thing that I've noticed from, the awesome people that watch my videos, and then all the other content that I've watched from other creators. if you're in the US, then that's like kind of one expectation on what things can cost and stuff like that. And other areas of the world, it's totally different. I don't pretend to understand, how economically every other area of the world is in regards to this stuff. But you have to remember that. So don't be rude. But I like to think if somebody ends up being like short with you or something, you have to understand that they're probably just not seeing it the same. I mean, there's even language barrier stuff. There's so much things going on there. But, bottom line is there's not really any place for that toxicity and that rudeness. But what that ultimately ends up boiling into, more specifically with page builders, is like kind of a tribalism mentality. And it's talked about a lot, especially nowadays. And I'm not really a big proponent of that. I think it's good to know the tools that you use and like them, because they're probably making you money if you're in an agency or you have that mindset. But at the same time, it shouldn't really be like a bricks versus core versus whatever. It should kind of be, as long as we're all moving forward, there's a conversation to be had about comparisons and things, but at the really high level, I think it's going to drive people away, I think, more than it would help, the toxicity and the stuff like that.